Okay, good to go. Okay, I'd like to call this committee meeting to order. Committee meeting for February 4th, 2020. Looking for any additions to the agenda. Got anything, Tim?
Nope.
I don't.
No. Barb?
Nope.
I have none myself, so can I get an approval for the agenda? Merv, thank you. Any pecuniary interest? Seeing none, we'll move forward. Approval of the minutes from the committee meeting of January 23rd. Okay, approval, thanks, Jen. All in favor? Yep. Delegations. Mr. Birch, water and sewer.
You got my report early.
Yes.
All the fancy details.
It does go into the second page,
Yes.
but I think that's because of your water main break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, we had a incident there on Bridge Street, so we got it repaired. And other than that, I'll have the reports for next meeting. They're more than that completed now, so I'll bring them to council for next week. And other than that, I guess the big thing was we had to put a new PLC in our Queen Street station because it failed back in October, and we had it patched up, and finally the new ones came in.
So that's just an electrician job, is it? Or switch? Or-
Yeah, controls.
Yeah.
And guys, so it's the same guy that put in our SCADA.
Okay,
He came and put it in.
right,
So because that's been reprogrammed.
right.
And that's pretty well it.
Questions for me?
No, but that looked like a cold, awful job that you guys were doing on Bridge Street.
Well, it wasn't supposed to be where it was. We miscued there, I guess, and we thought it was going to be behind the sidewalk. It wasn't. But it's just like most of them, they put the water in the sewer and the storm in at 3 different times, and whenever they put the next one in, they break the water lines, they put patches in, and then, you know, eventually after 30 years, 40 years, they fail.
Is the one that patches up?
Yep. So
I put a bigger patch on for another 30 years.
that's right.
Yeah. For the next guy to worry about.
That's right.
For the next guy to worry about, right?
Whenever that street's gonna be done, the next time we better look at maybe redoing all the services.
Okay.
From the bridge
Up to-
this side too.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Any
Because they're
idea
like
when,
50 years. We're at 50 years with those services downtown there, so. So they're only good for 70 maximum. At least the copper.
right?
The sewers don't give us a whole lot of grief, but
Yeah.
the copper is breaking down.
Right.
You know, slowly. Right there, the pipe was real thin and stuff,
It's good advice.
so.
Do we happen to know when we're gonna hear about the green stream for your
No, I
project?
It'll fall, right?
Yeah, not until August.
Mhm.
I unfortunately, I had that in my brain, but I was hoping that somebody would say, no, you're wrong, it's April. Okay,
August 31st.
thanks, Daryl.
Thanks,
Yeah.
thank you.
He was
Um,
in lunchroom.
Yeah, is he in the lunchroom?
I think so.
Let me look at.
I'll just see if he's in the lunchroom.
Hi, Jason.
How's it going?
Okay. Winter events. With the significant snowfalls and freezing rain events, it has been challenging to keep up with plowing and salting and sanding and the on-duty driving hours, but we are doing our best. Also, equipment malfunctions during these times have delayed winter maintenance, even though we have remained within the minimum maintenance standards. We have started to inform the public of significant weather events to warn them of delayed snow and ice removal.
How's that going?
Well, because the events have been falling on the weekend,
Yeah,
it's been making it tough to get the guys' hours down enough that they can work a weekend.
Right, because they're working during the weekend.
That's right.
But the good thing about them being on the weekend, it's not, you're not really under the pressure like for the buses and all
No,
that stuff.
no, but we're still getting a
Yeah.
little bit of.
It- Is there any way we can stagger those?
Well, that's
Guys?
generally what we try and do, depending on when the storm falls. So say if it falls on a Saturday afternoon,
Yeah.
we try and bring 4 guys in that are on the first 4 call-in
Mhm.
and stagger them that way. But the last weekend was, or 2 weeks ago, was just one of those things. The storm wasn't supposed to hit till late afternoon,
Right.
and it started freezing rain already at 9 o'clock in the
o'clock,
morning.
that's right.
So, or 7 o'clock, sorry,
And you're just looking at your daily hours with this, Jason?
Yeah.
Okay.
on duty 7, like we're on the 7-day cycle, right?
Yeah, 70 and 7.
So you still need the 24 off, right?
And I would say that we're in no different a situation than other municipalities. And what I've heard is that our roads, despite the weekend events, have been fairly good. Sending out the alerts on social media has been extremely helpful.
Yes.
I know the county of Renfrew did it. I don't know if this is a new insurance thing, why we're doing it now. But I think that it's a really important tool to say to people, before the event happens, we're going into a severe event, plan accordingly, right? Go to the grocery store, go to the pharmacy, get your errands done so that you're not traveling in these horrible, horrible conditions. 2 weeks, that was a bad storm,
Yeah.
right? And it wasn't that it was the freezing rain and then snow and then freezing rain and then snow. And so I think that those are the times that you really want people to stay off the roads, especially for you guys and for our emergency services.
That's right. Yeah.
So I just found that a really helpful tool. I put it out on Facebook and on Twitter.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
Oh, no, but I think the roads are excellent.
Thank you.
And not only that, I can still almost set my clock by to come by between 10 after 7 and 7:30 every.
Every time there's an event.
Yeah, compared to roads throughout the municipality, I was driving out, I had to go to tournaments and stuff on the weekend. And on that weekend, and our roads were by far in better shape than, because I went all the way to Fort Plunge, right?
Right.
And so there's quite a few roads in a lot worse shape than ours.
Yeah, and people just have to realize that too, right?
Yeah, it's winter driving, right?
Yeah.
You don't drive at 80 or 100 clicks, you drive accordingly. And
That's right.
You got your window up there before I got my tractor going.
Yeah.
We've also been extremely spoiled this winter where we haven't had the snowfalls that we've had before, just huge events at different times. So I think people get spoiled, right? Like I was driving in this morning and thinking, oh, this is so nice driving on 512, bare pavement. We're spoiled this year.
Yeah.
But I think that if we can keep up, I'm not sure who sent out the blast. Was it you, Steve? That sent out the alert that Renfrew County was in a significant weather event?
That was Public Works Initiative that I did for them. And it's copying something now that county is doing.
Yes,
And we're posting that on Facebook and the webpage. And what that does is it gives Public Works the authority to modify the MMS where required to make sure that the main roads are the ones that are most attention is paid to.
thank you for that. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I think that the sooner, when we know something like that, the sooner we can get it out to our public, the better.
For sure.
Thanks.
The private parking lot across from Conway's Pharmacy, we have the approval from the property owner to proceed with installing planters to keep the sight lines for Highway 41
That's great.
up to date, so we can go ahead, if we can get them, if they're not frozen, we can go ahead and put them in there for this fall, like this winter yet.
Okay.
I know it's not gonna be as nice to clean up the parking lot, but we'll deal with that when it comes.
Yeah, it helps with, like, say, long as it keeps the set line.
Yeah, that's right. Flooding. We have approximately 18,000 sandbags on hand in case of spring flooding to assist the ratepayers. At the time, we do not have enough space in a dry area to fill the bags, but by March,
they should be good to be have enough room.
But filling them, you know, it's easier to dump off a load of sand than somebody else fill them, because you're gonna start having a heavy load, you start taking a
Yeah, and that's,
half-ton truckload,
that's right.
you know.
I think the best thing is, if it does come that way, is that you, like we did before, enable the use of the students, right?
Yes.
And then they can just load them on.
And hopefully we can,
Yeah, you fill some bags for seniors or whatnot.
yes,
Yeah,
A lot of private roads, dump
No.
a load at the end of the road,
that's right.
like they did last time.
I still think that the way we dealt with things in 2019, we were using best practices. I think that filling the sandbags for our residents on site or somewhere else, I think is something that we should continue to do. I'm not saying don't dump sand in other locations, but I think that for our elderly population and for those that are, you know, are really in peril, I would, and we'll talk about this when the chief and obviously Steve's here, but I think that this is going to have to be a coordinated effort with our director of EGC and obviously RPG to alert us to when you guys need to be deployed, because I know we were very lucky in 2019 that on the Tuesday, you said, I'm not setting up the alarm bells yet, and by Thursday,
Yeah.
Jack was already putting out, okay, now it's time. So you guys ordered sand and sandbags on Holy Thursday, and on Good Friday at 7 a.m., you were already at Golden Lake. So I would like to see, and I'll reiterate that when the chief and Steve are at the table, but I think I'd like to see that process go forward again. I think we were very, very, very lucky last year and may not be so lucky this year, depending on the fall.
yeah,
I think
we might be lucky, might not be lucky. We know there's significant snow right now in Paris. So.
But I think the property owners now are more acute to what is going to happen.
Yeah.
They're more aware. One of them in my area in particular, the ones that bought a cottage the summer before.
Oh.
And they're out there in chest waders.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
We know where the critical zones are, so
Yeah,
that's
we
the
do.
thing, and we can target them, definitely.
But I mean, when you
Not
think about,
ignoring
17, Jason had firefighters in the bucket of the loader, driving them across a road.
Oh,
And in 19, we didn't have that.
Yep.
So that was the best picture from that flood, by the way. No, you don't know I didn't do that. I didn't do that.
I didn't see
I saw nothing. It was on Facebook,
You
man.
you had nothing to do with it.
But
She
on
has a
that
vivid
note-
imagination sometimes.
I'm gonna pull it up right now.
On that note, I don't know if I mentioned before, but I've talked to people on private roads that flood, suggesting that maybe the fall before, they drive some stakes into the ground with ribbons on them outlining the width of the road. So if a fire department or whatnot has to come in there, at least they know where the road is.
It's not a bad idea.
At least you know where the road is. You know,
Yeah, you're
a
not
fire
falling off.
truck or whatever.
Well,
The firemen would put on their hip chest weight or something, and an ambulance or whatnot, you know, 6 inches or 8 inches of water on the road. Stranger, where's the road?
and it was more water than that.
I know that.
I am continuing to work on the waste project and I will provide a report by the end of February as asked by council. That is-
It seems like you've already given us a lot of information.
Mhm.
I think we probably all want the survey to go out, but I would like to table this discussion until our next meeting because Brent isn't here and can't weigh in. And I haven't heard, all I heard from him was he sent an email saying he couldn't be here today, which we all knew. But I'd like him to be part of the conversation as well. I think for major decisions like this, all 5 of us need to be at the table.
For sure.
Yeah, there's probably no harm in putting the survey in, and we could get a feedback for if we put a survey in, because that's minimum cost, right? Probably to our staff to get a survey
But
together.
the outgoing tax bill in March.
Yeah.
And the timing of it is good, correct?
Yes, because Dana is collecting the information for the March newsletter, which will also go out because everywhere, and it's the information she needs by the 24th of February. So the next meeting is the 18th, so we could maybe provide a draft survey, just you can have a look at it, and if it's good to go, then we
Yeah.
can give it to Dana on the 24th for the 24th to get the newsletter out. That works.
So with the preliminary numbers, One of the things that I've asked our CAO to do with this survey is you gave us some yearly numbers. When I broke it down, that first number you gave us is about $4.30 a week. So I want to make sure that our ratepayers, I had some sticker shock when I read your first report, and then I broke it down and I thought, wow, this is something that our ratepayers need to weigh in on. So I've just asked for the.
That's
for the
based
weekly.
on certain assessment, right? The
No.
$4 and certain a week, it's based on, because that $4 and something a week is gonna vary depending on the value of your property.
No, that's exactly what we're saying we don't want to do.
Yeah, but I'm just,
But something else I looked at, Jason, but I didn't see it in the report. Have you given any thought to the logistics on private roads? How are you going to put up a container at the end of private roads, or everybody throws stuff into it? Is it going to need an environmental assessment if you throw a container there? How do you know who's putting garbage in there?
That's the problem with the
Yeah.
container.
Yeah.
You don't know who's gonna be throwing their garbage in.
That's right.
and you don't know what bear's gonna be taking it out.
Well, that's the thing. I have talked to neighboring townships that already have curbside pickup in the rural. And all they do is the morning of, people bring their garbage out to the end of the road and they
That's
just
right.
leave it there and they come down, they pick it up.
That, that's, the people,
Well,
I
they
don't
are,
see how that's gonna work with people that are out there all the time.
Yeah, but
But
if
anyway.
is going home Sunday night and you're not picking up on Tuesday.
They're not,
but other townships are urged not to do that for obvious reasons. Even in cities, you don't put your garbage out the night before, right? For raccoons that are the size of, small dogs. But again, I think maybe we table this until Brent's at the table. This is a huge, huge, huge thing for us. And I don't want to make a knee-jerk reaction, and I think he deserves to be part of the conversation. Thanks, Jay, and thanks for all the information, by the way.
We have had a few complaints with our roads, but I made sure that we were within the minimum maintenance standards. We did have some issues with equipment breakdowns that delayed the snow removal off a few roads.
Again, I think you guys are doing your best.
That's all we can.
I know, it's frustrating.
There's also an inquiry about raised paved shoulder and a paved shoulder. A raised paved shoulder is has a barrier curb or mountable curb with asphalt behind the curb to match the ground elevation. A paved shoulder, for example, is Fort Chute, an extension of the existing travel portion of the road distinguished by a white line. Okay, so that was brought to my attention also.
And this resident actually asked me about this and then realized that she had made a mistake. Like, not made a mistake, but that she misunderstood.
Okay.
And yeah, so she was good. It was just a question. Yeah.
That's it.
Anyway,
Any other questions?
have you ever thought, or have you discussed it, I know Bill brought it up one time, about a blower fitting onto
Yes.
as an efficiency?
We have, price of a new blower was like 110,000. A used one,
Find somebody else's problem?
Exactly.
I wouldn't go use both.
you're looking at 60 grand. for a
Yeah.
used one.
For a used one.
A
Yeah.
used
Oh,
and how much more efficient would that make it? Not that much.
It's
right?
not gonna make it much more efficient because we don't have the manpower to get at it the day after the storm.
Yeah.
And that's why we have to let it go and let it build up to where it's, that we can get at it.
We have some downtime to work on it.
You still need your grader, you still need your
You still need to
dump
make
truck,
the
and you
window.
still need the loader,
And you still need flagmen.
you still need the flagman, so.
Yeah.
And we've already got shortages of hours, as it looks like anyway, so. For sure.
that was crazy cleanup after that storm. My goodness, the snowbanks that was incredible.
That was heavy snow.
Yes, it was.
That was heavy snow.
For sure. No, we have thought about that.
I didn't think they're that expensive.
Yes,
I thought you get rid for 40,000.
We're probably just best to continue what you got.
that's right.
Because who knows how many snowstorms you get, events like this in a year, you might only get 2 or 3.
Yeah, that's right. And if we had if it took us a week to do the whole connecting link plus some side streets.
Just a question, Jason. I don't know if I don't think I've paid attention to the size of your cubic feet diameter or the capacity of your bucket now. Do you have a really big bucket on your loader too?
The one we generally use is a compactor loader. It has a 3-yard bucket on it.
Okay,
So he's filling the truck within 5 to 6 minutes.
yeah, no, because you, like, you know yourself, the
You're not gonna float.
snow capacity compared to gravel capacity isn't there, so we can, you know, if we had to increase the size of a bucket, maybe to speed up production or something like that,
Now,
but
now our other loader, the John Deere is a 3.5 yard.
But you're not gonna fill the truck much faster than that with a blower anyway.
No,
No.
no, like I say, if we didn't have big enough buckets on the loaders, that's a more efficient option to go to than a snow blower. You know, you're gonna get your trucks loaded just as quicker, the only, you know, with the bigger bucket.
That's right.
5-6 minutes after it's time for the truck to come back. So
That's right.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive timing.
So, you know, by the time they go and dump,
Yeah.
go back, they're all ready to go again.
Yeah.
All right. Any more questions?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah.
Good?
So the only downside is that we need you to come back to our next meeting.
Yeah, that's
Sorry
fine.
about that.
No, that's good. That'll give me a little more time to get some more information gathered up for contractors in that way.
Sounds good.
So we can come and make. The more information we have, the more intelligent decision we can make based on what we got.
That's right.
And that's, because the bottom line from what I got is from people talking about is they're all worried about the cost.
That's
Substantial
concerns
cost.
I've got as well, the cost.
Yeah.
And someone that lives quite a ways off the road, putting your garbage out there and raccoons getting in.
Well, that, and then you got a lot of people that are living, some of them are single, and they're living on a lake and whatever, they might have a bag of garbage every 4 or 5 weeks, and the cost, they're already paying enough for their property as it is, they don't want an additional cost of $300-400 more.
But I
in
was
their tax bill.
really thinking at the end of cottage roads, have something like you have at the waste site that you can pick up at the front end and dump in, but how do you control what goes in there?
Yeah, there's other issues with that too.
Yeah.
That, to streamline things, I don't think that's.
Well, and I would just like to say that at no time were we talking $300 or $400 per household.
But we haven't come up with the cost yet, what it is. we don't know.
Then why are we discussing big dishes enough?
I'm not talking, I'm just talking, this is what they're concerned.
We can save a lot of money by firing all our snow plows straight down too, that's a service we provide. You know, give everybody a shovel.
The fact of the matter is, now is the time to do the research. I don't want to make, none of the 5 of us want to make a mistake,
That's right.
right? We're not going to buy a really expensive truck for no reason, but do we do it ourselves and buy the more expensive truck? I think this is the time. I don't want to look back a year from now and think, oh, we made such a mistake. I'm a fan of do it once, do it right.
All right,
And we're not, it's not like time is of the essence.
No.
So,
All right, perfect.
excellent. You might as well stick around.
I'll wait to see what's coming.
I saw that,
Dave?
yeah. you
I
should-
saw him. I don't know where he went.
I think you went out that way. Then. I saw
He
him
went
go
out, but
down.
I thought I think he came back.
Oh, did he?
It's a beautiful day to govern. Did you find him? Excellent. So do you and Steve and Dave want to all come up?
Yeah.
I have a feeling Steve can't hear us back there.
I'm sorry?
Can you hear us?
Yeah?
Okay. How are you doing?
I can hear what, I can't hear what the person sitting there is saying, because the voice is going that way. It is better for me. Thank you.
It's better for me too, believe it or not. I always felt, it's better for me, because I always felt kind of closed off
Yeah.
from the gallery, so this is
Yeah.
quite
And
nice.
if I can see faces, I can, you know,
Yeah.
that helps.
Yeah, definitely.
So when there's mics, it'll be better.
Well, we're gonna try them out. The sticker shock was a little much for us. We're gonna borrow North Laguna Wilberforces, see if we like them. Or maybe that person needs to be Mike. It's an option. I know, because if the gallery can hear all of us, but they can't hear the person at the table talking this way, maybe that's the way to go. Okay, guys, so thanks so much for all being here. This was an ask of mine. Obviously, we know what happened in 17, we know what happened in 19. You guys were all involved. And I think in 19, we were far better prepared for what came down, although I think that everybody did an excellent job in 17 to attempt to assist our ratepayers, especially on Golden Lake. This has been talked about a lot over the last year, especially with Minister Yakabuski. You know, there's a federal component to flooding there on Ottawa. There's a provincial component, but there's a municipal component where we need to take care of our ratepayers. And so what I'd really like to do is to ensure, and I know that Steve has put out the emergency management plan. I would really like for the three of you, and I'm going to say with the director of EGC as your wingman, to let us know when this flooding could potentially occur, if it's going to occur. Our CAO is putting out good vibes that we'll just have a slow thaw. So let's hope she's right. But I know that the three of you have worked very well in the past together for our residents. And so I just wanted to make sure that you were all on the same page, that you know what assets we have. Thank you for the 18,000 sandbags. Do we feel that that's a sufficient amount?
Last year we used 13,000,
Okay,
so we are.
We're well
significant
within.
We're in
amount.
the safe zone.
okay,
In 17, we used 12,500, so.
all right. Okay, so, and I know that you've all got your own assets in your own departments, but I think that perhaps we need to make sure that they're all ready for a potential event. I do not want to scare our residents, but we've seen this happen 2 times in 3 years, and it is heartbreaking every time it happens. And so I just want to make sure that we're there for our residents. And we are hearing from Councillor Sejan about the snow load in the park, because he's there all the time. Obviously, Councillor Rosner in his capacity as EGC director, there are concerns about the amount of logs that are still in Round Lake and the rise of Golden Lake already. So I think that we just, if we can just all be on the same page, I'm not saying form a committee or anything like that, but as long as you guys are ready, then I feel like we'll be ready, including, who did you say earlier? Oh, utilizing Opiongo high school students. And I believe that we also utilized EBPS last year. So if those parents are still okay with their kids volunteering, what?
Child labor.
It's a learning experience.
Yeah, it builds character.
It does build character. It does.
Volunteer hours.
And their volunteer hours, that's correct. So anyway, that's the only reason I wanted all three of you here all at once so that we're all on the same page. Did you have anything to add? Because I know as the.
No, right now, we're in probably the same situation as we were last year. Maybe we might have one log in more than what we did last year in Round Lake at this time.
Okay.
So with the milespell, you can see as Sean does log maneuvering or changes the log, takes a log, you can see the effect on Golden Lake. So, but it could be the milespell, because when you get mild, Golden Lake has, I think if I remember correctly, around 30 other feeds into it. So when you get a milespell, some of those feeds will melt out, and then the water's going to come up right. It's not necessarily all coming from Round Lake. There's lots of feeds that attribute into
Well,
Golden Lake.
that's what Tim was saying about
Yeah.
the park,
Yeah. So
that you're seeing heavy snow load and it's wet snow, correct?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay. So did you guys have any?
On the emergency management side, the county, all the county CMCs will be meeting somewhere within about the next 2 to 3 weeks. Steve Osbenko was setting that up as normal. So we'll all be meeting there. As of about, and we haven't heard the official date, I don't know if you've heard anything, Jack, but as of around the 15th of March, the M&R-led initiative, where we have the weekly meetings for the CEMCs and the operators, to sort of, we all get that big picture. That'll be happening around the 15th of March or so.
It depends on the mill.
It depends on a whole bunch of stuff. And as happened in 17, I don't know what last year because I wasn't here, as happened in 17, as soon as I get the notes from that, then I will email all of you and everybody who wants them, the notes from those meetings. Because at those meetings are all the CEMCs, the operators, the Ottawa River Conservation, all those, all the players are on there, and we have a really good picture at the end of where everybody's at. So that is done. We have, everything is ready to go onto the website. It'll be going on there somewhere in the next couple of weeks. What to do when your well is flooded and all that kind of stuff. That'll be going on. And the only thing I won't be doing until it looks like we may have an issue is rebuilding all of our sandbag filling stations. I won't do those until we absolutely need them. So we're ready. We're ready to go.
And you know what? Thanks for letting me know about the CEMCs, because I thought maybe I was putting the cart before the horse here. I'm happy to know that I'm not alone in this, that, you know, I know Steve is, you know, they were flooded out far worse than we were. And so I'm happy to know that this is something that's going forward from a county standpoint as well. But yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Have you come up with a sandbag filling device so one person can fill the sandbag?
Yes.
Yes, you have.
Yeah, and
Ladder and
we
a
have
traffic
to-
cone.
Take the tractor and turn it off and they
Yep.
put the 2x4s upside down.
I built some after the fact in 17, but I think the parts got waylaid somewhere. So all they are is just, you can fill 6 sandbags at a time, and they're just 10-inch sono tube
Okay.
with a frame, and you just turn it upside down. You can fill 6 at a time, and you're done.
Or you can use the ladder,
They're asking about
Yep.
last year.
a ladder on,
Nope.
on workhorses
No,
with,
because,
with traffic
uh,
cones.
And I had spoke to Bill Kennedy about this, and he wasn't happy with me stealing all his cones.
Oh,
Yeah, he just, so I found
You got
another
you got a
plan.
new man now, Jason. so you can-
Yeah.
Jason's looking at Steve going, don't touch my cones,
Don't touch the
man.
cones.
Don't
So
touch
this is a
the
whole lot
cones."
better. It's just a 10-inch sono tube. There's 6 of them. You just put sandbags over, flip them over, fill them, you're done.
Okay,
So,
Municipalities should all get together because there is an attachment for skid steer that you can, I think there's 20 you can fill at once. On the front of a skid steer, you dip it into the pile, lift it up, and you get 20 bags. Hang.
really?
but it costs money.
It's money, yeah, but it could be a shared expense around the county, you know, but.
In a good year, it might be able to. Last year, it wouldn't have been able to. We would have needed like 12 of them,
Well,
because everybody needed their sandbag filling people and apparatus. But still, no, I'm thrilled that, I'm not thrilled, sorry. I don't want any flooding, but I'm really glad to know that you 3 are ready to go if need be. And I know that we can count on RPG and ECG to let us know when that might occur. Jason was laughing earlier because I knew exactly the dates of what happened in 19, because it was the Easter that never was. Nobody got Easter last year.
I did.
Oh, yes, I forgot that, Steve, that's right. Yeah. Thanks, guys, appreciate it.
You Go ahead,
come up.
you're up.
Oh, and just for the gallery, there are copies of this plan. If you want copies of the flood plan or the pandemic plan, you just give me an email and I'll, because they are public documents, so if you're wondering what we're going to do, they're all there.
Thanks, Steve.
No, we never, oh yeah, because Steve's not on this docket. Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
So just so the gallery knows and that Deb knows, Steve dusted off the SARS pandemic document from 2003. But we were saying earlier that, that's a living document, and with our flu seasons the way they are, that we now have posters in every facility saying, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. And I think these ones have 10 different things to do during flu season. So, and they should be up all year round anyway.
So it never stops anymore.
It doesn't, I agree. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Good.
Yep, you're good to go.
Okay, yeah, I'm ready to go. So, just to start off, thankfully, we're about the same, obviously three calls so far in January, so we're starting off slow, which is good. I think the we've had very few calls for chimney fires and whatnot. I think the weather's got a lot to do with that. We haven't had, some mild and then really, really cold nights, which usually prompts them. So, hopefully we'll continue on that path. A few things I did want to talk about. Our SCBAs will be certified and tested this Thursday and Friday. So that's a budgetary thing as well, just for the heads up. That'll be included in an already spending thing for budget. I met last Friday with our new OFM protection advisor, Les Brinkworth. We had a good conversation. We sat for about 2 hours and talked about the department and about our initiative, where we've come from and where we're going and steps we took to get there, kind of thing. We did have a good conversation. He was wondering if council would like to meet him, number one, as a delegation. They're not doing a delegation with a single person, but he'd like to do sort of a Coles Notes on essentials. That I don't know if any council has done here or senior staff have done here. Essentials of fire protection. So he gives you the Coles Notes as to what your responsibility is as a council, kind of thing. If you're willing to do that, it's up to you how long you would like that to happen. You could do it for half an hour, you could do it for 15 minutes, and think about it maybe and get back to him what you want to do. He also wants to breeze over community risk assessment that's coming up in the next couple of years. So his official title, he is a fire protection advisor, but he's in the monitor, audit, and review unit. So I think would be an asset, not only as my point contact for the OFM, but also for our procedures and how we're running things. So if council's interested in that, I can reach out to him and maybe give him a couple of dates. And I got the latest dates of the council meetings for 2020. So somebody can let me know. That would be good. Even 15 minutes, give you a quick overview.
Well, if he wants to touch on both, there probably wouldn't be any harm in giving him a half an hour, so then it give us time to question anything, what he has.
He asked me when you start losing people, and I said, I don't know, half an hour, 20 minutes.
Well, it depends on the.
Mine will only absorb with the asphalt powder. That's how quick you lose.
So 20 or 30 minutes?
Yeah,
Okay.
but that would include questions and stuff.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to meet Les at AMO last year, actually, at the OFMEM booth.
Yeah. So I think he's going to be a good resource for us. And he's very interested in getting involved with local departments and helping us along, so which is good. Instead of, I'd rather have him come in in the front door than come in the back door when something goes sideways, right?
Yep.
So, the communique that I sent is an attachment. That's the latest that's the very first one for 2020 from the Fire Marshal's office. That's an updated resource sort of instruction guide. So I think that's something that we need to incorporate in our emergency plan because these are the steps in this are what you take when we require certain resources from the province, and we can't just go to the province. We can't go anywhere except through our fire coordinator to be able to access this for free.
And,
Right.
and if I remember correctly, it also gives you the length of time it takes to get some stuff.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not going to, it's not going to be here once you set the phone down.
Right. No, exactly. And it does take time depending on what kind of incident. And you see in here some places you're looking at for heavy urban search and rescues, Toronto, right?
Yeah.
So this the coordinator will talk to the POC center once certain criteria are met. So all of our resources are expended, our mutual aid resources are expended. And the mutual aid coordinator deems that it's necessary to reach out to one of those agencies. Then it goes to the POC center and the ball starts rolling from there.
So just as somebody that dealt with the POC for 6 weeks last year, that takes more time than anything, getting their approval and for them to deploy.
But I think after that mall collapse they had, they can get stuff there sooner now.
I'm just saying during the flood last year,
Yeah.
it was like, oh, you were there. It was like pulling teeth to get them to approve certain things and a reticence to get involved in other things. So just that approval
Yeah.
time takes time.
Yeah, and I'm hoping, and that's what the old fire marshal, the new fire marshal is very hands-on, has been very hands-on from what I can see in the province and the emergency management sector.
That's good news.
I think you're gonna see a lot of changes, a lot of improvements with the new fire marshal
Okay.
coming from the fire service.
When did he start?
He started late last year. Yeah.
So
Good.
I'm just looking at here, for example, one of them says hazardous material teams.
Yeah.
So that's coming from North Bay, Thunder Bay, or Peterborough. So your staff that has some sort of training with that if something happens?
We do have hazardous material awareness training, but Ottawa does have a hazmat team. It's a light hazmat team. They don't have it on here for some reason.
Yeah, it's not on there.
But I don't think it goes through the same, there's a different process for that.
Okay.
It goes to the mutual aid coordinator and the coordinator will contact Ottawa. Right, or I think CNL has hazardous material as well.
Yes, they do.
It's a different process.
Different process.
Yeah.
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 so just-
So, and of course here, Ottawa would have, if there's an accident with a truck coming from CNL that
Yeah.
crashes or whatnot, Ottawa's the response team. Right?
Yeah.
So it's funny that CNL wouldn't be the response team, but Ottawa is. So anyway, let's just, for a heads up, and maybe Steve, I'm not sure if Steve got that at all, but I can check I can follow up with him and make sure that he has
That's
that.
part of your, that's
Yeah.
a good idea.
So we're, new MTO systems online now for claims. We are now client officially. The only thing that I'm having issues with is feedback from them regarding the final stuff from last year. I've got one outstanding claim that has disappeared in the system and I've left multiple messages and nobody phones you back. So I'm just hoping that we get it, just shows up one day. I assume that they've got something in place to take care of all the claims because they cut us off in the middle of January and the stuff from December wasn't really processed yet. So, and all that history disappeared on the system. So hopefully
That's not ideal.
No. So on to efficiencies. I know we were talking about that last time. I do have some buyers I know Jack, you were asking about recouping some costs.
Yep.
I do have several buyers interested, several departments and also some companies, distributing companies that will take them, refurbish them and sell them again. You're looking at about $100 a radio.
Okay.
To get rid of them.
Right.
And we have about 30 radios altogether.
Right.
So there's a little bit of offset there. Now, I don't think any decision should be made with what we're going to buy until if council's in agreement with this being part of our efficiencies, until I find out where county's going. Right. So I needed to get to another communications meeting. I'm not sure when the next one, the chair of our communications committee retired.
Yeah, is that for, because you want the same frequency? allocation?
Well, I want to know
Same model?
exactly what the specs are going to be. I don't want to buy something and have it not be 100%.
Well, not be
Right.
compatible with what they have.
Yeah, so I don't know if from what I gather, it's not going to be P25 operating system.
Okay.
Or it doesn't have to be P25, but P25 is a little more expensive, right, for handhelds. So from what I gathered from Brian Leahy, it's not that. It's going to be just your regular handheld radios. So we do need to upgrade, but I want to upgrade to the right thing.
Yeah.
So
You gotta like you say, make sure that you have something that's gonna be compatible once you get it. And once
Yeah.
you do the upgrade.
and be good for us for 10 years, right? The way
Because
the
once they
other ones
put
have
that
been.
new framework in, it's going to stay for a while.
Yeah.
You know,
So
whatever they're going to use.
So you'll just bring back
I'll have to bring back after
a
our next,
recommendation?
yeah, I think we'll probably have a meeting in March. From the looks of it.
It would just be really good if you could have some sort of idea of money for your budget.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, you know that now you'll have this offset of a certain amount, but
Yeah.
you know, what's the price tag on them?
Mhm.
But if they're obsolete, I don't
Yeah.
know what we, like,
Like, and I think just
And
from what we talked about last time, you know, it's, the efficiency, I think, is the way to go with that, because it will make our safer and more efficient. It's just,
I think that you're probably better to go with the worst case scenario for your
Yeah.
budget. Go
Yeah.
with the higher price one, so then at least we know where we're at.
yeah, absolutely.
And then if it's, not,
well, the other mitigating factor though is your plan is to go to just one apparatus, right? You're not gonna carry a radio and a pager now.
That's right.
So I think there's a cost savings year over year for that as well.
I just sent a box of pagers back to Doug Buckwald that are newer stuff that stopped working. So he's looking at that stuff. So they are not reliable anymore, the Motorola pagers.
Okay.
You know, one, like I was saying, one drop, you have it on your belt and you hit the wall with it or something like that, something goes wrong with them. They're not built well.
is it because they're mass produced now and they're
Could be.
easy to throw away?
It could be, they're, you know, they're disposable, but they're disposable at $600 a pop.
Yeah. But that's probably,
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right, so,
Wow.
but that would be even if it's.
That's
the
disgraceful.
local, it's the, you know, it's the way they're being built.
yeah,
That's just the way it is.
yeah. And we've had very, very few issues, even with the radios we're using now. People drop them, they, you know, they're hardy, right? At least they stand up, they don't stand up like the pagers do.
Yeah, well, I would come back with the worst case scenario for budget, if you don't have anything else, and then we can go
Yeah.
from there.
Yeah.
And the worst case is only
Yeah.
150 more than
Yeah.
what we were talking about.
Well, but that's what I
Right.
mean, you can come back with that, right?
Do they make like an otter box for some sort of devices like that, just as a
No.
precautionary measure, like a surround case deal?
Not that I've ever seen. No.
Because the phone inside here is very fragile. but
Yeah,
you can
there's
drop
too
it
many,
and you're good,
there's
right?
too many gadgets on it. That's the problem, right? Like,
Okay.
To access.
yeah, it would bulk it up, I think, a little bit.
But for the pagers is what I was kind of.
Yeah.
You know,
No, the
I've never
pagers have
seen
a
anything
lot of
like
stuff
that.
on them,
okay.
little dials and they, yeah.
Yeah. I've never seen anything like that. Good idea, but
I just didn't know if there was such a
Yeah.
thing. It might be a worthwhile investment.
Tim's gonna go on Dragon's Den.
Yeah.
yeah,
He's gonna save.
Well, it's a lot of money for
Fire
something that if it drops and it's no good anymore,
Mhm.
right? So everybody puts protective cases on the railroad.
yeah. And a lot of departments are now going to more of a radio type system
Makes
because
sense.
it's, you know, it just doesn't make any sense. So if you're in a factory environment or something that's a little more controlled, a little more, you know, or some sort of lab or something and you have a pager on you, that's one thing. But when you're doing most of the jobs that we do full time, people are wearing their equipment, either logging or being a mechanic or whatever, you know, that stuff gets damaged, right? So, you know. So anyway, I'll come back to the next council with the, well, for budget.
Budget, yeah,
So,
worst case.
The dry hydrants. I made a couple of phone calls and I investigated down at that lights. We're not gonna be able to put it where I wanted it to be. The elevation's not right for us. So I'm pretty sure Constant Lake Road, where Constant Creek runs through,
Yep.
where we draw water from there, if we're down there at a fire, that's a good place to do it at the bridge there. And like we were saying about Opeongo Mountain Resort, but I'd like to come up with some sort of solution down here somehow to get closer to the water, get sort of a level to the river. That's where it's gonna be the cheapest, right?
See, I looked at Norfolk on the way before, so I stopped, drove down, and yes, they do have a dry hydrant. Have you seen it? Or-
I have, yeah. On Golden Lake,
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna make it the river, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, right down by the.
Yeah.
So here is,
Have you considered talking to the new owner about putting it at the far end? Like towards Eric's house? I know you wanted it at this end
On
and
this
it would end up
access.
being on private property, but
Yeah.
is there something that we can do with, like, is the elevation better at the far end?
it would be where the steel was
Yes.
stored there. Yeah, that would be ideal in there, but it's just a matter of access.
And then
Yeah.
how
knowledge
to have
to
it cleaned and everything.
That's right.
Because that's gonna
It's gotta
be
be
just pushed with
serviced.
snow, right?
Yeah,
Because then you have to start hauling away.
You know, it's a tricky because the bank's steep there.
Yeah,
And you don't want to go down very far. So I'm gonna keep looking and see if I can come up with, I'll talk to the new owner of the creamery as well and see.
what about on the other side?
No, this is too steep
It's
there.
way too steep
Yeah,
there.
there's a hydrant over there too,
See
but
where the hydrant is. I was just wondering if there was anywhere up the stream there where the
the,
little boat launch is, if there's anything.
That's where I was
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah.
yeah. See, we would utilize the hydrant over there if we were doing like a shuttle or something like that, but my idea is if we had something downtown to be stationary on a water supply, that's not the hydrant system.
Well, that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking, you know, if we went
Yeah.
up to where that boat launch is.
Between the boat
Big-
launch and the water plant, that's what I was
Yes,
in
But
there.
that won't help us downtown. Because then we're shuttling water instead of being
Oh, I
Oh,
see.
you want to hose it right from there?
right from there.
You
Yeah.
don't you don't want
Oh.
a tanker, okay.
No,
I didn't get that. Okay,
that's the safest way to do it, not shoveling water
right.
into town
Gotcha.
like that.
Yeah.
If we could have a truck on it and just stay on it and deal with whatever we have to deal with, but it's finding, it's tight
Okay.
down in that little corner. Yeah, so. Anyway, I'll keep looking at it. I'll bring something back as well, but what, I'll talk to Jason. I'll get him down there as well and see what, where the township property ends. Because ideally, right at the guard there, the guardrail, it's perfect to come up there where Jack and.
yeah, well, when we looked there, but then you're knocking off 3 or 4 parking spots, right?
Yeah,
That's the problem.
Yeah, because they would have to be designated fire lanes.
mhm. Which is not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
But,
But there's not a lot of parking down there. is
you
there?
know,
And then what about where the island is just up from the dam there? Is there, you know, at the bridge, right under the bridge there?
yeah, there's no access for us
You,
there.
you couldn't use like a pumper or something like that, like a stationary pumper or something there?
The water's too low under that bridge. The bridge is fairly high.
Okay.
We wouldn't be able to draft from that river,
Um,
even in the summertime. It's too much of a pull.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're kind of, we got all the water in the world, just no
Yeah,
way to
way to get
access
it
it. Yeah. So, anyway, that'll be something to consider. I do have 2 other ones anyway that are 100% that I think we need to put in.
Okay.
You know, that will help us rural.
Then you got some firm quotes for those or for budget?
Not firm yet, but I will.
By budget.
See, we
Yeah.
keep saying budget and he keeps saying efficiency money.
Yeah, I know.
No, I'll have, I've got a pretty good idea of what I put them in.
He can
Had
say
some
it,
put
he
in
can
before.
say it. We'll see where he is, come budget.
It's
that's how it
budget
might
no
look.
matter what, guys.
Yeah.
Budget no matter what.
Okay, so I'm not sure if I said this last council meeting, I did find a pre-plan program. I don't know if I talked about that last council or not, but for free. So we were set up with a company in the States that gives it access to fire departments in North America, the software to develop their own pre-plan program. So I've been through it, it's amazing. So it's just a matter of now getting the devices to be able to do it. So I am waiting on a quote from paramedic service about they're gonna upgrade their tablets and whatnot, and this stuff is compatible with their equipment, so,
You had me at free.
yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah.
things, the US is a big resource for fire services for things like that. Like
That's amazing.
fire associations get together and build something, and then they put it out to the rest of the community as a free service. So, yeah, it all works off Google Maps, Google Earth, that kind of stuff. So,
Wow.
so it's pretty exciting. So that's one of the things we're going to be investing in this year. So, yeah. Other than that. I wanted to also mention Community Safety Net. They did an amazing job for us. They went around, brought all sorts of sponsorships from businesses around to develop their public education materials for schools. So we have enough pub ed stuff for both grade 3 and 4 classes for both schools for this year for Fire Prevention Week. So that'll help a lot.
Nice.
And thank you to the local businesses for sure. That did that, chipped in. I think there was 20 of them.
Wow.
Thanks, Dave.
That's all I have.
Anything else? Herb, do you have any questions?
No.
I got a 5-minute break.
Clear as mud.
Definitely.
There's my
Clear as mud.
Hey, guys.
Mark,
Oh, absolutely.
I asked Mark if he forgot that we were building a garage. Because it's been so long.
Hey, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
I'm very hard of hearing. Chris.
Basically, Mark, we've had some questions about the RV issue and stuff, so we're asked you to come here to give us the, as our building inspector, what's your take on how the zoning bylaw is interpreted and where we're at? Okay?
Yeah. Zoning bylaw is vague on the interpretation of it.
Yeah.
Basically bottom line. So really it can be interpreted kind of two ways, either allowed or not allowed. It is a bit in conflict with the building code because under the building code, our RVs are not governed. They're governed by different governing bodies. So that's kind of the problem.
So what you're basically saying is to be in line with the official plan and the provincial policy statement, we would be best served to clarify in our definitions what an RV is and where council wants to allow. Okay. And I think that's the best you can do. And I like the fact that you use the term that we're in conflict with the building code, because that's the impression I got from you. And I think we just wanted you here today for clarification of that, to make sure that we understood you properly. This is another item, and I'm hoping council will agree that I would like to table until Brent gets back. I don't know how you guys feel. I think we can ask questions right now, but again, this is an enormous project for us to undertake and to make some decisions on. And I think all five of us deserve to be heard and to be able to ask questions. So if that's.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. We've given direction to Annette and she's reached out to some individuals. She's given us a report that we should really review and talk openly with all the councillors here and council and the mayor. So I have no problem tabling it. I just think we have to be aware this is one of the issues that we're dealing with in the ward where I am at in Lake Clear. So as we make progress and moving forward here, and if the bylaw is such that it needs clarification, the onus is on us to do the clarification.
Correct.
And the council, the council as a whole can determine what the clarification has to be.
Agreed. Now, I do want to just, I know this has nothing to do with you, Mark, but you might find this interesting. We've heard from people that were not in favor of what the executive of the LCPOA were putting out. And we've heard publicly and we've heard just at this table. I did find out this weekend that one of the Lake Clear residents did the survey 25 times. This comes from somebody that I trust, that I've known for years. And so when we're told at this table that only one person per household could do that survey, that is proven out to not be true. So what I did was, once I found out about the 25 times, and every time she did the survey, she answered differently. So she answered sometimes that she had a septic, sometimes that she didn't have a septic. When I found this out, I started reaching out to some of our friends on Lake Clear, because a lot of our friends on Lake Clear are not in favor of this. And I wondered what they did with their survey. Almost every single household did it more than twice. The results of that survey are skewed. They are tampered with, and they should not be taken into consideration at this table. That's my feeling right now. I was shocked. And I think that the executive thought that they had a very good turnout for the survey, and it turns out that is not true. I'm not sure if they know or they don't know, but this was a surprise to me. So I think that we need to,
I really think the survey is something fact gathering that they wanted to present to us, which is fine, but we just honor the survey like we honor some of the other issues that we have, right? I think it's more important for us to clarify the zoning bylaw.
absolutely,
And go with that.
I was just letting council
Yeah.
know and our CAO know and our deputy that the results of that survey are skewed.
Mhm.
So it's a shame for the people that put it together, but at the same time, we believed and we asked the question, I believe it was Brent that asked the question, how many times could you do it? And we were told once per household. And that was not what the email said. The email said they would prefer if only one person did it per household. So anyway, it's, in my opinion, that's not semantics, that's a problem. So I agree wholeheartedly. I think that we need to look at our definitions, perhaps, Mark, if you're able to help Annette, maybe you two can work in tandem. I know that, you've given us lots of information, that would be wonderful. But again, I think Brent deserves the opportunity to speak to this and ask questions,
Yeah,
so.
and like I'm just saying, if you remember the last meeting we had almost a year ago when Victor was here, we were promised a phosphate chart for the water quality, and we're still waiting for that, right? So this is just like, it's like the surveyed phosphate chart, all this, the water quality, all this stuff is stuff we take into account, but I think this is totally a different thing, clearing up our zoning bylaw.
It absolutely is.
It has nothing to do with the rest of the survey or anything else.
I'm just glad that we were sitting here when Mark told us the first time they are not structures. I think the definition needs to be fixed so that you're not in an enforcement phase, to call it probably what it would be. That's not your job. And I think that we as a council need to make some hard and fast decisions with your, obviously with your expertise.
Mark, as a definition of a structure, do you use the same definition as MPAC uses?
No. My definition comes out of the building code as a structure. MPAC deals with things a little different.
Yeah, because MPAC has like a 5-point.
Yeah, they have.
It has to meet 4 out of 5 points.
Yeah. But
That's
building
interesting.
code is, still-
The building code's different?
Yeah.
Quite a
That's-
bit different, so you could have one structure and one not a structure? is
Yeah.
what you're saying.
As far as impacts.
Yeah, as far as the difference between you and impact is what I'm saying, yeah.
And if it has a license plate on it, you definitely wouldn't have any jurisdiction or authority over that
Not under the
either.
building code.
No.
Isn't that interesting?
Well-
Great question, Merv.
Yeah,
No,
I would have never thought of that.
Oh, yes, yes, and the other kind of, maybe I shouldn't have got this comment from an MPAC person, but yeah, and if it says a structure, and the old trailer's 25 years old, I mean, it's not worth assessing.
That's also a good point. Right.
So-
Now, they're supposed to if they're hardscaped.
Yeah.
I believe that's one of the
Yeah.
rules, but
But
still,
if it's a hardscape and it's 25 years old, I mean, if it's a new one worth 25, 30,000, it's a different thing, but if it's one worth $1,500, how are they gonna tax it?
Right.
Not worth their while.
But like, I think it all boils down to is we need to clarify this.
We do.
And then we can go from there. And you guys can work on getting us, addressing the questions that we need. And from there, we'll go forward, and then we'll have to sit and may have the discussion and then do the changes, clarification that's needed.
but I think Annette's also been in touch with the county, just to ensure that we can amend our zoning bylaw without the $12,000 and the 6 years of waiting on the province. I think that you found a far easier way to clarify some of the things that are in that bylaw that really have been ambiguous probably since it was enacted. And unfortunately, and I'm not sure if everyone knows this, I mean, the delay on our zoning bylaw has been a creature of the provincial policy statement refresh, which which filters down to the official plan of the county of Renfrew, which we're under refresh, then to the zoning bylaw, because zoning bylaw amendments are expensive and timely, and this is something that we have to employ the county with. We are not in this alone. There are several other municipalities in the county of Renfrew that are also in this terrible holding pattern. Hopefully it will be cleared up soon, but I mean, that's been the holdup of not fixing something that hasn't been right for.
Has the PPS been finished yet? And I didn't,
So-
said this is it, etched in stone, we're all done with it.
Exactly.
Or they're still discussing it.
Exact. So what happened was they put out a draft
I know,
PBS.
I know, and everybody jumped on
And
that.
everybody jumped on it. So now they've gone back. So the hope was, I know from Jim McDonnell's office, that they would have it done by sort of October-ish. And that timeline just didn't work because when they sent out the draft, I think probably a good majority of our municipalities said, wait a minute, that's not what we asked for. We asked for many more mays instead of shalls and that sort of thing. So it's, you know what, it will get worked out. We did obviously submit through the county some of the issues with it. And I think all of our local tier CAOs were involved in that. So we'll have to see, but definitely I think that the five of us need to be all here to make some hard and fast decisions and not let this linger any longer.
Well, the thing is, when we discuss and look at it, we might have some more questions for them to get the answers for.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah. That's why I think,
You know,
yeah.
this is, they can work together and let us know what the difference between structure and all this stuff, so we understand it. Because you have to understand it to make the decision.
Yeah.
All right, I think, any other questions, for them? Okay, thanks. Thanks.
Thanks.
So we're gonna go to correspondence, I guess. That's the game plan,
That's the game plan.
the game plan. Anybody have any questions on the correspondence?
Just correspondence B1. And I'm gonna pose this to Sandra. Sandra, do we do this every time, the military service recognition book?
Yes, it just started. This is new.
Oh, this isn't?
Well, we've done it 5 times, but that's when it started,
What do you mean 5 times?
5 years ago.
And
5
what
years
do we
ago
use?
is when
What
we
do we
said-
use, a half page
Yeah,
ad or
that's when it
something?
started. It's about that big.
It's
There's
not,
5
yeah, so
Yeah.
it's not a full page. Then.
So it lasts for 5 years, is what you're saying, or is this gonna be an annual thing?
Yes.
It's gonna be annual now.
Yes,
Okay,
Started 5 years ago and now it's, and
okay. So they sent us a proof of what it would look like. Obviously, that's the one we've done for branch 353.
yeah, but it's a big book, I think, for the whole province.
Yes, it is. Yeah. I'm fine with it.
Yeah. I forget what it costs for that.
$400.
Yeah, I think so.
It's our military.
I was looking at that correspondence from the Township of Madoc.
Yeah.
Read that joint. and
It's-
It's just,
It's a never-ending saga of joint and several liability.
yeah, so,
So did we say yes to the recognition?
yes,
Sorry, excuse me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, I guess we should have probably given some staff direction there. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Madam CAO.
it's a yes. Yeah, but looking at Township of Madoc there, so, I don't know, is there any point in endorsing that or not, or what? It's just an end, like you say.
It's, I think it's a waste of paper
Yeah.
at this point. I know that the premier obviously put out that this is something that they're looking into. Every single bear pit, they get asked about it.
Okay.
I don't know how on earth it's going to be fixed. You know, I don't think you can put that horse back in the barn
Well, it's like
with the precedents that are out there,
It's
but
like the correspondence says, it's like they see the municipality as a never-ending money pit. You have
That's
to just
right.
Come after them, right?
yeah, no, it is a priority. It's one of the priorities of the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus. Rick Phillips from Hastings spoke to it at the multi-minister meeting at Roma. I don't know. I don't know how they're ever going to reconcile it when there are so many precedents out there for some of these accidents and the municipality being a never under money pit.
Yeah.
I don't know if the insurance companies have a seat at the table. It should be interesting.
Yeah, okay.
I like the OPP one. I mean, it's not gonna affect our budget too much, but trying to get the pocket dials. But it's not too hard to tell them. I mean, I've had a couple of family ones and somebody's talking, music playing in the background.
Actually, and in our last PSB, the booklet that they gave us, we don't have very many of them.
Good.
I was actually surprised. I
Yeah,
thought there'd be
start
more.
there,
Yeah.
And I think something that, again, I talked about this the last time from my involvement years ago, false intrusion alarms and whatnot. The way to solve that is to put in a better alarm system.
Well, I'll tell you, when we first opened Murphy's Auto, ours kept going off because a bird was in the shop.
Yeah.
And basically, Renfrew OPP said, we're gonna fine you.
Yeah.
So we had it fixed.
Yeah.
Anything else for correspondence?
I wish people would stop sending us stuff on conservation authorities.
Yeah.
I would have been taken off those lists.
We got time for a story on conservation authorities? Well, back when the Source Water Protection Act was the big thing. This is about 10, 12 years ago. Corinne was still on council. And the Source Water Protection Act required a committee, and the chair of the committee had to be appointed by the Conservation Authority. So anyways, I called the sweetheart in Toronto and said, look, this doesn't apply to us. We need a chair to be appointed by the Conservation Authority, and we don't have a Conservation Authority. She said, yes, the whole province is guided to conservation. I said, my dear, before you make yourself look sillier than you're ready to have, you'd better look it up and call me back. Well, that's about 12 years ago. She hasn't called me back.
She's probably retired now.
I was
Long-term
gonna say-
pension.
Don't hold your breath, Merv. Don't, I don't
And
think
we
that's
still haven't
what's
got
happening.
it. And the Source Water Protection Act, I think, just died the natural death.
I've been to many, many, many conferences where people are shocked that Renfrew County does not have one.
Don't want one.
Okay, so I guess then we'll just file correspondence or just we'll file those later today?
Yeah, we filed them this evening.
This evening. New and unfinished business, County of Renfrew update.
Okay, so a couple of things. The County of Renfrew has finalized and now distributed the strategic plan. I've dropped it on our CAO's lap. You know, I'm a fan of, you know, let's recycle some good ideas. So I would say if we are planning to do a strategic plan, I think that this gives us a good jump off point without having to, you know, pay a heavy price consultant maybe. But we can talk about that at another time. And the good news story, of course, was on the front page of the Eganville Leader and all over the media last week that the County of Renfrew's budget is a 2.5% levy increase, which equates to about $2.13 per $100,000 assessment. So not only is this good news from the county perspective, it puts our local municipalities in very good stead for our budgets. We did start out with a 3% levy increase. And by the end, we agreed that the budget pressures, which included some mitigation factors for PTSD and some other issues that we didn't see coming. We increased our delegation budget for counselors because we seem to be going to things that we weren't intending to go to. And there wasn't money in the budget to attend a delegation that you weren't expecting that you had to be at. In the end, though, those budget pressures and the extra 0.5% were funded under our county reserves. So I think it's great news. I was so proud to be the chair of finance and admin. It was a long day, but it was a good day, and we did it in one day. So that always makes me proud when, you know, we're not spending more taxpayers' money, the 17 of us reconvening for a second day. So it felt really good.
Speaking of budget, have we firmed up, I know we had 3 option dates. Have we firmed up the dates we're gonna have our budget yet?
That was for library budget.
Library budget.
Library budget.
Well,
so-
that's what, Have you firmed
Not
up-
for our budget yet.
No.
Tim asked for it to be
Have
in
you firmed
March.
up the date for the library budget?
I think
Yes.
it's the 10th.
It's the 10th, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
10th of February.
I'll send out another.
It's next Monday.
It's next Monday. I'll send out another email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had something else in my head. Oh, and speaking of things that we weren't planning to go to, there's an OPP roundtable meeting on the 20th of February. It's in Brockville. Jack, were you planning to go?
Yes, I guess I'll go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, great. And the reason I'm asking.
I'll just drive down in the morning.
Okay, so Brian Hunt can't be there. He was my partner in crime with Sylvia Jones.
Okay.
So I will, can we get Jack a copy of the billing?
Mhm.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mhm.
Just so you know what you're
Yeah,
going for.
Yep.
But I said to Annette, this is one of those things, you know, it comes up, you don't have the budget to go, but you have to go. So,
Our snow removal budget should be pretty good these days.
yeah, but our flood control budget might take a hit.
Be optimistic.
I'm trying, I swear.
Just think of the electricity Jack's gonna generate when this water comes down the river.
with my new
But it-
equipment,
there you go.
really high efficiency. Bonnechere Valley Emergency Management Program Committee resolution, that's just
This
for
is a
tonight.
resolution for tonight.
Draft employee code of conduct. That's, and that's given us a code of conduct for us to look at. Did you want to discuss it now, or? is it-
I thought it was excellent.
I thought it was
good.
I just, you all got my note that I wanted vehicles,
Vehicle in there?
Yeah.
as opposed to equipment.
Yep.
Just
Or
because
vehicle.
in my head, when I hear equipment, I think snow plows, loaders, dump
Yeah.
trucks.
You could,
Um,
equipment
Vehicle.
and vehicle.
and vehicle.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take equipment out. I'd just put-
No. I want the insertion of.
Everything, all
Yeah.
municipal owned.
Now, do we want this to come back to our next meeting for approval when Brent is here?
Well, probably you can bring it back. and-
Yeah.
I mean,
It's-
time is
it's-
not of the essence.
No,
Time is not of the essence, so if it's all right, then what we'll do is we'll bring it back, the next meeting with the bylaw to pass the policy. I have training scheduled for it, for everyone, on April the 22nd in the morning, so we will shut down in the morning. But I am working on having, Audrey come in for the morning, so at least there's someone here at the counter answering the phones, just so that we're not, like, we will be completely shut down, because all the staff needs the training, and it's being done free of charge on our voluntary hours that are delivered from the county of Renfrew, so it'll be delivered by Bruce Beakley.
Right.
So I think it's gonna, and all the staff has already signed up and checked boxes, so I look forward to it. It's gonna be a good day.
I just had a horrible thought.
Oh.
The flooding in 17 and 19 both
Yes.
started on April 18th.
And if it does, then
We can reschedule if something catastrophic happens, yes.
absolutely, but nothing catastrophic will happen. It's gonna be a nice slow melt in the spring, and it's going to be fine.
Oh, it'll be gone in
Okay.
April.
I'm right on, I'm
I'm
picking up
going to
what,
keep putting that out.
yeah, that's right, I'm picking up what you're putting
Okay.
down. I really am. I'm totally in.
Oh, wired, that's correct, there, the snow will be gone the first week of March.
There you go.
that's it.
Let's just say our prayers, people, say your prayers.
That's it.
It's an excellent code of conduct, by the way. I hope you didn't think I was being nitpicky.
No, that's great, and that was, and Steve Deegan put that together.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so it was excellent. Yeah.
Good stuff.
You had a lot of reports.
Yep,
Yeah.
we tried to
Okay.
beef it up a bit.
I like the formats.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it was straight to the point too, it didn't go on. You know what I mean? It was like,
But I like,
Yeah.
you know, recommendation, background. I like, that's good. Or what council asked you for. I like that. It was very professional.
Thank you.
so our next meeting date is already established, right? We don't have to do that. Media,
18th, yep.
do you have something else, Murph?
No, I said the 18th, if I got it right, yeah.
Media,
Can I get a copy of the OPP billing presentation that you guys did at?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, because I had the notes from what you talked about last time, and then I talked to Brian Hunt, and that's just on my agenda of some things I
Yeah.
want to write up.
That would be great, Deb.
For the paper, and he had mentioned that about, I should ask you guys for it, and it's brought it up, so that was great. So then the other thing is, so I guess at the next meeting, then Jason's gonna be talking about the waste. Like,
He,
he's done a,
Jason and Annette gave us some preliminary stuff.
right,
There's more to investigate,
right,
but I didn't want to get too far into the weeds at this meeting
right,
without Brent here. I
Yeah.
don't think that, when we're making huge decisions
Right.
like that, all 5 of us need to be here.
Yeah.
So maybe
so
hold
that'll
off.
be presented next.
Yes,
At the 18th?
Yeah.
Okay, and then the other thing is, like you guys were talking about the discussion on the bylaw and the RVs and stuff, and then that, I understand we want to wait till Brett's around. So is that gonna be discussed next meeting, do you think, or do we have a timeline on that one, or?
Well, we probably will discuss it, but there's not gonna be a decision made then, I don't imagine. There's gonna be more questions than answers.
Okay,
And there'll be some direction given to our staff of what we need clarification on, right?
Yeah.
So
okay,
it's a work in process. That's the way I see it anyways, unless.
well, it's been about 3 years.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. What are you gonna do, right? What are you gonna do? You got to.
Yeah, no,
call it
no,
like it
and-
is,
and-
Deb.
No, but I thought that was good too, that you were mentioning that, like you guys had asked Victor Castro, and he had said he was gonna have that thing, and I've been sort of wondering what was going
I
on with that
still
too,
haven't
and
got
I'm
it.
sure our ratepayers
I
wonder,
sent them.
your ratepayers, our ratepayers,
Yeah, I sent them a
Everybody's repairs?
refresher email a couple of weeks ago and I never got a response, right? So it's one of those. And again, I don't want to tie it together with the bylaw because that's totally 2 different things.
yeah, I understand that,
The zoning bylaw has to be clear, not just for Lake Clear, it's for everywhere around, right?
Yeah.
With the RV issue, it's not just a Lake Clear issue, it's throughout
no, I
the
understand.
township. So I don't really want to tie the 2 of them together. It's just, it takes time to get this information. That's all I was saying.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, one of the reasons that it sort of brought up was because of the issue that was
Right.
brought up on Lake Clear.
Yes, for
you know,
sure.
So, yeah, and like I said, it's sort of just a matter of housekeeping on my part, just keeping, following up on stuff that we've
Well,
written about before.
And I think the challenge is also, we're talking 2 different things, right? We're talking zoning,
Yes.
but we're also talking water quality. And if we're talking water quality and it's an at capacity lake,
Mhm.
then basically what we're saying is that there can be no development on Lake Clear, period.
Mhm.
Which means no building permits.
Right.
So you couldn't build a garage
Or renovate your.
or renovate,
Or renovate.
exactly.
Convert.
So,
Yeah.
there's an extreme here that could go on, that could have terrible effects on a lot of people on that lake. Now,
Yeah.
Constant Lake isn't at capacity, but is it close? I don't know.
Mhm.
I'm just, so, there are some things to take into consideration, but I think that definitely you'll hear in 2 weeks.
I
We'll
think
have another
when we
discussion.
get into this thing, I don't know if Constant Lake has a lake association up, but Golden Lake has, and I think we should call them in.
And the problem with Golden Lake, or the challenge, is that it's 4
Four
municipalities.
municipalities, and it's
So,
clean.
so
Yeah,
anyway.
no, I know, and that has been discussed before, like with Golden Lake, like if you do something in Bonnechere Valley and, you have the other 3.
Like the
that's-
fire ban.
Well,
Hey.
yes, yeah.
The guy over there is burning.
Yeah.
Well, there in North Algona.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, this has to be cleared up.
Well, yeah, like it's been sort of
It's been
ongoing.
going on for a long time.
But,
It's almost old enough to vote.
Yeah, there you
We're gonna leave you
go.
on a cliffhanger in this meeting again.
Well, yeah, that's nothing new at this
No,
point,
no,
right?
no.
So anyway, yeah, no, I just wanted to clarify, like, if there was, time situation we were dealing with.
Well,
Great.
and it's a shame that Brent could not be here today, but I think that we'd be further down the road at this meeting
Mhm.
if we could have had some lofty discussion, but again, I don't think it's fair to do it without him. I
No,
think it's
that's-
sort of
that's a good
disrespectful,
call.
actually.
Yeah. Like you said, it's a very important issue. so
And no lives are in danger.
Everybody should be.
No
at the
lives are in
table.
danger.
No, that's right. Yeah. Good, okay, that's it for me, thank you.
Thanks.
Stay tuned for
I
the
was
next
gonna say,
episode.
February 18th. As the council turns.
Well, I will say, although we aren't ready to make a decision, our staff certainly have given us a lot to chew on.
Lot to think about.
Yeah. Are we off?
Meeting
Should be,
adjourned.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Merv, you go.
All in favor?
All in favor?